Yes, yes. Welcome to the ancient world of tabletop games. I am Agamemnon from the historical documentary Time Bandits. This is a report from a fugitive. How much rubbish do we talk in role-playing games? Oh, it applies to board games as well. Both side-by-side hobbies regularly employ dice, and by the glittering grey beard of Gary Gygax, we talk a hell of a lot of rubbish about dice. My video on HALASTER'S templates, for example, ends with a dungeon encounter packed with garbage, just to set the scene for you. Players in a fight can't roll dice to save themselves. Villains hit with regularity, bringing the prospect of death by 1,000 cuts. We have a bomb, but we hold off in the vague hope that the dice gods smile upon us and let us hit the bastards. Save the bomb for another time. We have a run of bad luck. Round after round, rolling and missing, rolling and missing. Dice are random. We use the results to tell tales about spectacular combat, and not-so-thrilling swordplay that's all swash and no buckle. Random number generators are random. The dice have no memory. They roll and roll again. It's all about physics and plastic interacting with a felt cloth on a table. Nothing to do with luck at all. Good, neutral, or bad. Yet we buy different coloured sets of dice. The used ones roll crappily. Yes, the magic has gone out of them. Switch to the new set. The force is strong with them. Nonsense. The randomness is the randomness, which players ignore in favour of the dice gods, fate, chance, kings, desperate men, and mystical energy residing in chunks of plastic. Dice traditions are many. We must consider one in particular, the dice warm-up, waiting for other players to arrive. You can't just roll dice cold when the game starts. These random number generators need to limber up. Also, you want to shake the bad rolls out of the way. In a game of Dungeons & Dragons, a roll of 1 on a 20-sider is bad. A roll of 20 is awesome. Players wait on players walking through that door, and while waiting, players roll 5, 8, 4, 3, 1, and 1. You're rolling all the bad luck away. If you roll a 20, well, that's one you could have used and you've wasted the opportunity. Complete nonsense, of course. In the example of failed rolls, the failed rolls wouldn't matter. We had a bomb, and the bomb saved us. But there was no way to know anything about the dice. If we hadn't used the bomb, would our dice rolls have kept failing us? Human nature cynically says that our dice were bound to fail us. With a major power at our disposal, use the major power. Granted, that fireball spell also relied on dice. We rolled to take reduced damage from that fireball, and our dice worked then. The Dungeon Master rolled dice for the damage. Random generation of blast. High rolls for damage on mighty effects. A very powerful spell, say, or a hefty strike with a magic sword. Low rolls are glancing blows, with the hero taking it on the chin and shrugging it off, as the hero is meant to. Random rolls inform the tale at the table. In our case, our rubbish dice prompted the use of the fireball, changing the story. Consider a game with lower fighting statistics for goons. A goon who has no chance to beat you comes within a whisker of wiping the floor with you. Jammy dice, right? Yes. But he's no ordinary goon. Why no, he's a stuntman. That's obviously how he swings with ease from the chandelier and kicks you in the teeth. Nothing to do with jammy dice. We know he's a stuntman. Usually his fight ends when he's thrown through the window. That's just even more rubbish we tell ourselves in role-playing games, but we can call it narrative. It's storytelling, making up our own entertainment based around random dice results. Yes, sometimes that flimsy net falls apart. Damn you, fictional dice gods. Fictional dice gods were listed alongside Elric and Cthulhu in an early printing of deities and demigods. And that is a role-playing fact. How much rubbish do we talk in board games as well? Where did I stumble in my videos? If you describe red components in a board game as red, you aren't doing colourblind people any favours, especially if you go on to describe green components as green. Here we can divide board games into two categories. Good games that tackle as many levels of colour vision deficiency as possible, and games that don't bother their arses. Thematically, you have a chance to improve the game components for everyone. Playing pieces of different colours and commonly confused colours aren't great. The red player is the green player, and so on. In animal-themed games, the yellow playing pieces are ducks, the red ones are fox-shaped. This adds to production costs, but also lends a certain charm to otherwise bland playing pieces. But a grey Batman with a hint of blue under a purple sky, vowing to be better at that shit when designing games as his alter ego Clark Kent. Oh, that was a spoiler, wasn't it? Let us move on to other matters. Hey, at least we don't have to keep changing his mother's name around. In a board game, Lois Lane's underwear would be pink, represented with a pink token cut into the shape of her frilly garments. What the hell kind of board game is this anyway? Superman wears his underwear on the outside, so I guess there'd be a red token for that. Not frilly though. You need to be able to tell the difference if he's on the same square with Lois. Oh, it's a Bruno Catala game. Only Bruno could design something so bonkers. Though, if we're talking about colorblind problems in games, one of Bruno's creations wins a terrible design award without even trying. In my video on component collector rejects, I blundered into the battle between red and green. As ever, you must genuinely explain the things you explain and not simply believe you explained what you thought you'd imagined in a fever dream after too little coffee and far too much cheese. Let's reconsider the offending article. Component collector tiles have magnets around the edges, making it easier to create your own game component display. I spoke of mismatched tiles in reference to the placement of magnets. Choose the tile designs based on the game components you must herd into place. Click those tiles together and away you go. You've made the table easier to manage. I had the opportunity to buy up tiles made earlier in the production process. Tile magnets match up when those dimpled dots are aligned. These chunky magnets are glued in place and that's that. If they are glued the wrong way around, then you have a product that doesn't work as described. It's virtually impossible to remove the magnets without damaging the woodwork. This is why the company sold rejected pieces at a discount. If you're buying square recessed tiles or circular carved ones, the misalignment of magnets isn't a problem. A tile like that holds game bits no matter which way around it is. The positioning problem lies in tiles with slots for cards. They can't sit sideways. In my earlier video, I discussed using the rejected tiles to my advantage at every opportunity. The game depicted pandemic rising tide. Players race to stop blue water cubes from overwhelming the Netherlands. Let's recap from that video. This mismatched set used in Pandemic Rising Tide was for the blue water cubes. I'd slide the cubes off that red tile sideways thanks to the bogus magnet and keep a core set of blue cubes handy next to it to remind me that we were getting into the low stocks and a game-ending situation if we ran out of cubes from the brown tile. At that stage of play, we'd thrown 4 blue cubes back into the supply. The Netherlands survived just long enough to stay dry enough to help us win before the cards ran out. It doesn't matter that the green tile holding the reminder token is technically upside down. Framing the tiles around the game board corner saved a lot of space. Hint to game designers, make your boards landscape instead of portrait. Gamers, and especially gamers who make videos, hate portrait game boards. And that really is a board gaming fact. What a load of nonsense. If you're red-green colorblind. Even if you're not, my level of description was lacking. Yes, you could guess that the circular orange windmill piece was the reminder token, and you might suppose that the only cubes shown had to be the blue cubes. Oh, and the tile I called the brown tile with the cubes on, pretty sure you'd guess that's the tile I was on about, thanks to the cubes on there. Not clear enough, though. So much for my blundering. The winner of the Zero Fucks Given to Colorblind Players Award goes to, and this is number 1 on a list in a hail of bullets, Yamatai. Bruno, what were you thinking? You were thinking about a boatload of wooden components. I remember when this game came out to great fanfare, then it disappeared. I couldn't get a copy for years. It's an okay game. When I finally purchased it, I had the choice of paying a lot of money for it or under £20. I chose to pay under £20. The game is gone again. I see one copy online for £100 plus postage. Well, that's a deal breaker for most people. No free postage, forget it. The game is out of print as I record this video. Yes, it could come back in a new printing by another company. Let's hope they address the color blindness problems should Yamatai ever resurface from the mists of time. Another difficulty in the gaming hobby is forgetting what it is like to be a beginning player. Technical jargon is unavoidable, but it can be removed from games at the design stage. When it comes to making videos about games, it's extremely awkward talking your way through someone else's concepts. You can't translate the terms for a general audience without first stabbing the jargon in the front, the sides, the back, the neck, and the heart. Depending on the game designer, there might not even be a heart to stab. My preference in videos is to mention a 20-sided die before calling it a D20. If one of my videos is a viewer's first experience of watching a chat about role-playing games or board games, then no matter how many videos I've made, each video should cater to the beginner. Is that always possible? No, but easing the jargon outside by means of a swift kick up the arse will definitely help beginning players who stumble on these arcane videos. Now roll a red D20 for that AST and pray the dice gods are with you.